government says that it wants to remove red tape to help people heat their homes.
Yes, today committing an extra £30 million to offer a discount on the installation of heat pumps. We're joined by the Energy Minister Miatta Fahnbulleh. Very good morning to you.
Morning.
We're going to get to all of that important energy bill material in just a moment. But first, we just want to hear what you would like to say this morning about the loss of this Labour veteran, a giant of Labour politics, John Prescott, Lord Prescott. Tony Blair says that Labour would not have won 3 terms without him, paved the way for MPs and ministers like you. Did you have very much to do with John Prescott? And what are your thoughts as we report his death this morning?
Look, incredibly sad news. And, you know, what I'd say is John was an absolute titan of the Labour movement, you know, someone that had Labour values to his core, driving the trade union agenda and, you know, just at the very heart of pushing for things that really mattered to working people. And, you know, I think the thing that certainly impacted on me was, you know, he'd walk into a room and he'd light up that room. He was able to kind of connect with people and was just authentic. You know, what you saw was what you got. He spoke his mind, and there was something just incredibly powerful about that just connected with people. I think a lot of people, including myself, will remember him for that. You know, that's that beautiful quality that some politicians have to just relate, to connect, to talk about and push the things that people absolutely care about. And that's why I think a lot of people will remember him.
I think the thing about him was that, I mean, a lot of people who enter politics become slightly kind of muted by it and become possibly overcautious that what they say or do might be misinterpreted. He didn't give a stuff, did he? He just said and did exactly what he thought was the right thing in the moment.
He did, and I think we need a lot more of that. Look, I think he definitely inspired a whole generation of us. There is something very refreshing and just really authentic by a politician that had really strong views that were rooted in his own background, in his experience, in his passion to help working people, but, you know, never resiled from saying it as it is, for fighting for people, for pushing an agenda that in the end he knew would matter to people who, you know, look at politics and want politics to change their lives. So, look, I think it's a lesson for all of us in that brand of politics, which I think is incredibly powerful.
Yes. Now, of course, he was a key player in agreeing the Kyoto Protocol on climate change back in 1997. You, in a way, are inheriting that job now. Can you tell us about the pledge made by Keir Starmer to cut energy bills by £300 on average, the progress towards that by 2030? How are you going to do that? Because we know that inflation's just gone up. We know that Ofgem are going to announce the price cap tomorrow. It will go up. The energy bills have already gone up under the last price cap, and again on January the 1st. People might be scratching their head looking at this My First Steps pledge by the Prime Minister. I'm going to cut your bills by £300 on average. When's the cut coming?
Well, listen, look, I know, just like you know, a lot of your viewers know, that energy is just unaffordable for a lot of people. Bills are too high. And the reason they are this high is because of our dependence on global fossil fuel markets that we have no control of, combined with, quite frankly, the abject failure of the last government to upgrade enough homes and insulate people from that high prices. And that is why we are absolutely running at that mission to deliver clean homegrown power by 2030. And a key part of that is this plan to upgrade millions of homes so that we can lower bills, deliver homes that are warmer and cheaper to run. And so as a first step today, you know, we are announcing an investment of £3.2 billion in order to upgrade up to 300,000 homes over the course of next year so that we can lower bills for those people, that we can deliver homes that are warmer, particularly for low-income households. And then we're combining that with an expansion of our scheme, our boiler upgrade scheme, so that people can get £7,500 off the cost of a heat pump. And we are looking to lift 1 million renters who are in fuel poverty out of fuel poverty by increasing standards and requiring landlords to upgrade rental properties.
Did you say 300,000 homes? I mean, you've got to get...
Next year.
OK, so next year is 2025. You're promising this cut in bills by 2030. You're not on track to do that by any measure, are you?
Well, listen, you know, we know bills are too high for people. And the reason we are doing everything that we are doing is order to get those bills down. And if we get to clean power by 2030, which we are running at, and everyone that is working with the government will say that we are absolute purpose, focus, clarity and pace, if we can combine it with the scale of upgrades that we believe we need to deliver across the country, we think we will lower bills. And, you know, we'll have to work with industry. We're working with consumers. But in the end, the thing that motivates me is that there are people across the country that are sick with worry about the cost of energy. That is something, you know, energy is an essential good. It's not a nice to have. And the fact that we've got ourselves into this position that we've inherited, where bills are too high, where we've got this dependence on global fossil fuels that we don't have control over, is something that we are trying to change and we're trying to break.
OK, can we talk about heat pumps? They're the sort of energy equivalent of electric cars, aren't they? In the sense that people are very suspicious of them. A lot of people who've had them fitted say that they just basically don't make the house warm enough. They're not efficient enough in that sense. And a lot of people don't really want them.
And they're very expensive.
Very expensive. And yes, you're giving a grant of £7,500 to replace gas boilers and electric boilers with heat pumps. But, I mean, some of the work that he's doing is going to cost people up to £18,000. And they're going to be very reluctant to spend that kind of money on a device that they don't necessarily have a great deal of faith in.
Well, listen, we survey lots of people who've installed heat pumps, and overwhelmingly, people who've installed them won't go back. They are delighted by the impact it has, both in terms of their pocket, but also in terms of keeping their homes warm and comfortable. You know, the average cost of a heat pump is about £12,000. The reason why we are expanding our boiler upgrade schemes in order to take £7,500 off the cost of a heat pump for more people is to make it more affordable for people. You know, in the end, those that are going on this journey aren't looking back. My job is to make sure this is accessible to as many people as possible, and that's why we're putting in place the additional support that we are. And, you know, this is a question of choice. No one's going to be forced to put a heat pump in, but I think when people do, and they are going on this journey, the results are good. And in the end, all that matters is that this thing is affordable for people. It means that they can warm their homes in a way that works for their pockets. And if we can make that easier for as many people as possible, we will do. And the key thing I would say is that heat pumps are 3 times more efficient than gas boilers. So once you've got it in, once you've got it installed properly, you're using less energy and you are therefore paying less for your bills.
I wonder whether all of this is unrealistic. 2030 is the date set, particularly the cutting energy bills by £300, when energy bills have gone up and will have gone up twice, I think, under your government by January the 1st next year. And you've cut the winter fuel allowance for older people. Nobody, realistically, by 2030 is going to have a lower energy bill, are they? Was it a foolish mistake for Keir Starmer to promise that? I mean, particularly a poke in the eye for the pensioners whose energy bills would have gone up because they've lost the allowance.
Well, listen, there are 2 things there. In terms of the commitment, the £300 off bill was based on an independent assessment. We are determined to get energy bills down. The whole reason we are doing everything in the department that I'm part of with Ed Miliband is to reduce bills for people. And whether that is the sprint to clean power or that is upgrading people's homes, the sole purpose is for it to work for people's pockets. And on the winter fuel payment, what I'd say is, look, the Chancellor had to make a tough call on that. But we've been really clear that we're going to do everything we can to help people who are struggling with their bills this winter, you know, whether it's pensioners or it's, you know, households with
kids. You haven't done everything to help. You've actually done everything to hinder the bills for the older members of our society by cutting the amount you've given them to help?
Well, listen, there are lots of people that are struggling with bills, and the thing that we've been doing is working with energy suppliers in order to put in place a winter support package. And yesterday we announced £500 million of support that will go to people who are vulnerable, who are struggling with their bills. So if there are people who are worried, who are thinking they need to turn off their heating because they can't afford it, please pick up the phone to your supplier, because there is help that's been put on the table to help you, or call Citizens Advice. And in addition to that, we are putting another £500 million through our Warm Homes discount that's going to over 3 million households in order to help them this winter. So we know we need to provide support. We are doing that, but it is part of a long-term plan in order to get bills down for the long term.
Miatta Fahnbulleh, thank you very much indeed for joining us this morning.